guys, ignore my crazy awful voice. I had a chest cold this week and I slowly started to lose my voice, and then I went out with coworkers after work, and it was at a bowling alley, and so there was music playing, so I was trying to talk over the music, but yet my voice was so hoarse that you couldn't hear me, so then I was really stressing it. So my voice is like completely gone. So I'm hoping that it'll be back by next week, and I'm going to do a voiceover for this video so you don't have to listen to this the whole time. But I thought today would be cool to do a fun different video than I've ever done. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. Grab a snack and a chair and just a blanket and everything, because none of my videos are ever short. I'm so sorry. If you're not new to this channel, welcome back. Yeah, welcome back. Thanks for
tuning in. This is not TV. Oh, jeez.
Thanks for watching my videos. I'm really excited that I've been back in the swing of things. It's really fun and exciting. I'm going to try and make this intro short because I sound like a boy. So I'm really excited for today's video. Wet n Wild came out with a palette that looks crazy similar to the Modern Renaissance. Coincidence? I think not. So I'm gonna open it so you can see how similar they really are. So I thought it would be kind of cool to do a which is better, because they are like ridiculously similar. So I thought it'd be kind of fun. Okay, so this is Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette, and this is the Wet n Wild Rosé in the Air palette. So do we see how similar those are? Like, they're similar. That was totally on purpose, Wet n Wild. You sneaky, sneaky dogs, you. So I thought it'd be fun today to use the colors that are the most similar and do an eye look with them and see which one's better. Because I'm sorry, this one is like $40 some, $42 I think. And this one was probably like $5. So if I can get a palette that works like this palette, I'm gonna go with the $5 palette, because we know I'm budget friendly. Your girl's broke. So I thought it would be really cool. And like, there's some shades that aren't the same. Oh, nope, that is the same. I just don't ever use that shade. So if you guys want to see the difference and see if one's better than the other, if they're the same, whatever, just keep watching.
Alright guys, so we are going to do the Wet n Wild palette on one eye and Modern Renaissance on the other. So to start off, we're going to start with the Modern Renaissance palette, and I'm going in with that brown shade, and that is going to be my crease shade, and I'm just going to blend that into my crease. Okay, now I'm going to take that shade, bottom shade right there in the Wet n Wild palette, and do the same thing on the other side. You will see that they're very, very similar. There will be a trend in this whole video. They're super similar the entire time. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to take this red shade from the Anastasia palette, and I'm going to put that in my crease. Essentially, the next like 4 steps are all just me putting shades in my crease, just with different palettes, and then blending them out. So I'm probably not going to talk very much because it's almost 11 o'clock at night and everybody in my house is snoring and sleeping, so I'm trying to be quiet. So now we're going to go in with the same shade, well, similar shade, sorry, from the Wet n Wild palette, and do the same thing that we just did on the other side. And then we're going to go in with the dark brown shade that's in both shades and do that in the crease as well to deepen up that crease. And now you're going to get to listen to cool music, because here comes my dog. Alright, I apologize, my heat just kicked in, but now I'm going to go in with that dark brown shade right there. I know you can barely see it because I didn't have it in frame, but it was that dark brown shade that was in the upper right hand corner. And I am deepening up that crease, and then once I blend it out, which, not gonna lie you guys, I had a harder time blending out the high-end palette than I did the Wet n Wild palette, so that's kind of a little interesting tidbit. But anyways, once I go in with that, then I'm gonna go in with the same color we originally put in our crease because, again, I was having issues blending out that dark brown shade. So I'm going in with that shade, plus I kind of lost some of it, just to help blend it out. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other eye. We're going to go in with the dark brown shade in the palette, and then we're going to go back in with the original crease shade that we did, just to kind of help blend it out and get that dimension back. Although, like I said, I didn't have any issues blending out the Wet n Wild palette. It was purely the Modern Renaissance palette, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, now we're going to go in with that shimmery gold shade, and we're going to put this all over our lid. And with both palettes, I've used a little bit of my Morphe setting spray to wetten my brush. I was going to say moisten, and then I was like, no, moisten. But anyways, to get the brush wet so that it picks up the pigment better, and you're going to see I switched brushes because I didn't like that brush. So anyways, wetting your brush can just help pick up the shadow better and make it look a little bit more metallic and shimmery. So that's just a little helpful hint. If you ever feel like your shimmery shade doesn't look very shimmery, use either water or setting spray, or if you're really in a pinch, saliva. Totes works. I don't do that because it grosses me out, but it works. So anyways, I am just going to put that all over the lid, and then I'm going to blend it out with a brush. And now we're going to do the same thing on the other eye with the similar colors that are in the Wet n Wild palette. And this is where I noticed they're not the same exact shade. I'll show you towards the end when I'm done putting it on my lid, but the one in the Modern Renaissance palette is more of like a white gold, and the one on the Wet n Wild shade, I'm going to show you right here, it's more of like a goldy gold, like a bronzy gold. Yeah, it's a bummer. But once you got eyeliner on, you couldn't even tell, so no biggie. Alright, now I'm going to take that top shade, I think it's like Temper or something, I don't know. Anyways, I'm just going to put that on my brow bone to highlight my brow bone, and then this kind of just helps if you blend your shadows too high. Highlighting your brow bone can kind of help get, like, not erase the shadows, but it helps blend it down a little bit so it doesn't look like it's so high. So that's what I did there, and now I'm doing my under eye, and I'm taking the dark brown shade in both palettes to first line the under part of my under eye, and then I'm taking that original shade we put in our crease to blend it out. So that's what I will be doing in the next couple frames. And this is my daughter and I being goons. Yep, I love her. She's the best.
Alright guys, I am going to go finish my eyes off camera, and then I will come back and give you my final verdict. Okay guys, so I just finished my entire face, and I am now ready to show you what my eyes look like. So, here we go. So, let's see if I can get close. Do we see a difference? Because the only difference I see is that the gold shadow on this eye, which is the Wet n Wild palette, is a little bit darker than the gold on this side. But once I put my eyeliner on, I couldn't even tell anymore. Like, it's very, very minimally noticeable. So, upon further review, Wet n Wild is killing it. As for the way the shadows are, I did notice that Modern Renaissance wasn't quite as, like, dusty. Like, there wasn't quite as much fallout, which is impressive because Modern Renaissance usually has more than anybody else, truthfully. But it wasn't as quite as dusty. There was some shades in Modern Renaissance that were more pigmented, and then there was some shades in Wet n Wild that were more pigmented. So, I mean, all in all, I'm not gonna lie, you guys, if you only want some of the shades in the Modern Renaissance, I totally suggest getting the Wet n Wild if you're on a budget, because it doesn't have all of the exact same shades. Let me grab them out. Like, there's some shades that are missing, but for the most part, it's almost the exact same palette. So let's see. Modern Renaissance has, scratch that. There are 10 shades in Wet n Wild, and there are 14 in Modern Renaissance. So 10, 14. So the 4 shades that we're missing are, oh yeah, that makes much more sense. Okay. So we're missing 4 shades out of the Wet n Wild one that you have in the Modern Renaissance. We're missing Golden Ochre, Vermeer, Venetian Red, and Burnt Orange. So if you don't care that you're not getting those 4 shades, then you could totally get by with this one. And this is a really good palette. So, you guys, I'm not going to lie. If I didn't love the shade Vermeer so much, I might give this or sell this palette and just use the Wet n Wild one and get some money back, because this is a really good palette. This one is a really good palette. And so is Modern Renaissance. It's one of my favorites. I use it all the time. But, dude, this is a good palette. So if you've been wanting the Modern Renaissance palette and you're okay with not having every single shade that's in here, go get your hands on this Wet n Wild Rosé in the Air palette. So good. The blendability was good. The pigment was there. The color story is just like the Modern Renaissance. It's really good. Like a really good palette, you guys. So I highly suggest that if you are looking for something like this, sorry, you go out and go get this one first and make sure that you're going to like the color story in this one. Maybe that's another one. Maybe if you're like, oh, I really want it, but I don't know what I'd do with it. I don't know what colors I'd use. Go out and buy the Wet n Wild one. I'm 90% sure it's still there. And go see if you can make the colors with this one. And if you really like it and you're like, oh, I'm still so obsessed with this, but I want the other shades that aren't in this one, then go get this one. But, I mean, this one I swear was like $5 to $7 max. This was like $42. You know what I mean? And Wet n Wild has stepped up their game a lot. So give it a chance. But all in all, you guys, so we got Wet n Wild on this side. Whoop, there go my glasses. And Modern Renaissance on this side. I know my lighting is kind of shitty, but not bad, right? I'm pretty impressed. I've been wanting to do this video for a while, so it was really cool to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think it was kind of fun and different. Let me know if you guys want more of these, like if you can find dupes and if I have them and stuff like that. I have a few other high-end shadows or high-end palettes that we could test them out and see which one's better. So just let me know. Seriously, you guys, I love doing these kinds of things. It's so much fun. So I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, night, wherever you are. Don't forget to subscribe and like and press that little bell notification so you know when I'm going to be uploading, which I've been doing more of. So let's keep that rolling. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your whatever. Yeah. See you guys.
I need to go to Von Miller and I don't want to. And then Oshkosh, where I work every day. I don't want to go. I probably shouldn't have said I have to go to Oshkosh because there's creepers on the internet who are now going to look up where Oshkosh, Wisconsin is because I'm so famous. Just kidding. Everybody watching my videos already knows where I live. Creepy. I'm losing my marbles. Yep. Alright. I should probably just get going because I have a lot to do. Ooh, I gotta pee. You ever get shivers because you gotta pee? Woo, that was me. Wait, let's finish this long. It's like 17 seconds. Anybody else put on a red lip, some hoop earrings, put your hair up in a bun and feel like a badass bitch? I do. Oh. We're gonna have a jam session before I leave. The Christmas tree, Maria. Everyone. Wow, I suck. Christmas is my favorite holiday, says who? The Christmas tree. I'm wearing my Makeup Babe shirt. You guys can't see that. Look at that. Makeup Babe. Hashtag Straw Rev makes the best shirts ever. Strawberry Revolution, if you don't know who that is. She's the bomb.com. What is this? What is this? When you leave. Am I Egyptian now? Singing, let's be jolly. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, rocking around the Christmas tree. Have a happy holiday. Dancing, caroling. Not bad, eh? It's pretty. It's kind of cute, huh? Look at this in here. It's a wee bit crusty, but I'll take it. Nobody dances like that. My bun doesn't have the effort to stay up today. Get your ass in place. Fashion way. My kids laugh at me every time I sing like a Gomer. I don't even think they've ever heard my real voice. All right, I gotta go. Bye.